Did You Have To is a proud member of the But Why Though podcast community.
Welcome back to Did You Have To, the podcast where two bad bitches talk about anime. And here are your hosts, Kate and Nisha. Yeah!
Hey everyone, I'm Kate.
I'm Nisha.
And today we are going to talk about how somehow, while Nisha was visiting me, we became furries with Beastars.
Can we be
Beastars? Beastars.
Beastars. Can we be specific and say we're anime furries? I feel like there's I think we need to be very specific.
That's fair. I do just feel like I've now understand why people, because there's that whole subsection of fan art where it's like drawing X character as a furry, and I'm just like, I get it now. It makes sense.
It makes so much sense after watching this. And we technically watched it twice. Like, while we were there. Because Kate watched it without me first. And then
my back was hurt.
I forgive you. You needed quality entertainment. And then I started watching it with Lizzie. And then we stopped at like 1 a.m. So we got through like a solid like 7 episodes. But then I decided to say, screw it. I'm going to stay up till 3 a.m. and finish the rest. So I did. And then we watched it again with Lizzie to finish out. So sorry, Lizzie. But it was so good.
But also, I've seen so many of those episodes. And I've seen episode 11 like 3 times now. And then I started watching it. And then I don't know when we're putting out this episode, but it's either coming out before or it's coming out after our anime day, in which we would have watched Beastars again, because if you don't know and you haven't been following But Why Though is doing a whole bunch of watch parties from movie nights and horror nights to anime days.
Yep.
And the first anime day is Beastars, mostly because it was a landslide vote on our Twitter poll of what people wanted to watch.
It wasn't rigged at all. It was not rigged at all.
I feel like people very much want to see what this furry business is about. The poll got 42.3% of the vote, with JoJo's coming in at 26.9.
Dang.
So yeah, Beastars was always going to happen.
Yes. No, I mean, and it's so new, and I feel like it's one of those things. So when Beastars first got announced on Netflix, I was kind of like, this is going to turn me into a furry, isn't it? And I feel like a lot more people have said this, and like that's why I was just like, I'm not gonna watch it right away. And then Kate watched it, and I was just like, shoot, it's gotta be that good. Okay, I'll go ahead and watch it. I'm like, shit, they made the wolf tall and broad, y'all.
Yeah, it was one of those things where essentially, what do you call it? I keep seeing people post. They'll take a picture of their TV with the Beastars thing paused, and then they'll put like, if this awakens anything in me, I'm blaming Corona. And I'm just like, it's gonna awaken something. I'm sorry, that wolf is hot, very hot. I don't know. I feel really weird because the animals are very attractive.
I think, like, and again, I always kind of break it down. It's like they drew them to be attractive. I'm obviously not attracted to animals.
They purposely did this.
They did this on purpose. I'm not attracted to animals. I'm definitely attracted to how they drew that wolf. So, just like anime men. Just like, you drew
And then to like shock me back, I was like, okay, let's look at a real furry in a furry suit. It's like, nope, this is disgusting and awful. I can't do this. Sorry, no kink shame. But
but see, that's the difference. Like that,
I just did not like that.
I think there's that's the difference. It's like same. When I was joking with someone like, yeah, no, this anime turned me into a furry. They're like, oh, so you like the mascots? I'm like, no. There's a difference.
No,
there's a difference. And I mean, like, again, we're not kink shaming, but I think there's this thing where it's like, when it comes to like anime and like this kind of stuff, like you drew this animal very attractively, and I find that attractive. You drew this animal with human features that I find attractive. I'm not attracted to a mascot animal suit.
Exactly.
But but then we see cosplayers.
Stinky.
Right.
Yeah.
But then we'll see cosplayers like do like bunny ears or like wolf ears. Like you show me a man who does a cosplay with like no shirt on and wolf ears, and I'm probably gonna be like, Inuyasha. Yes, this explains so much. Every girl who loved anime growing up fell in love with Inuyasha's problematic ass.
Yes.
And why?
Yep.
Why? Just saying.
My favorite fuckboy to this day.
Yes, and if he had a tail, we all would have lost our minds. I'm just saying.
Yep.
And I think that was another discussion we had. It's just like, oh yeah, Kovu from The Lion King was hot.
No, that's the other thing. I mean, I'm gonna write a listicle that is 10 animated men who proved you've been a furry all along, or something like that. Because I feel like there's just a lot under there. Oh. It's just all about drawing an attractive thing.
Yes, College Max from the Goofy movie too. Kovu, as I've already said, Mufasa.
Scar,
very much Scar.
It's Jeremy Irons' voice as Scar.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, the list can go on. I'm pretty sure. The Robin Hood movie where he's a fox. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Baloo the bear. I'm just listening.
Oh, girl, what?
I'm kidding.
Baloo, what?
I'm kidding. I just like the shock cake. I'm kidding.
Are you kidding?
I am
now because I wasn't like, yeah, girl, get that Baloo.
No, I'm kidding about Baloo. He's a terrible example. Like anyone's mentor. He's not raise children. He's the Goku of the animated animals.
Oh my God.
But anyways, so I look forward to seeing that listicle because I'm sure
Kovu was the hottest though.
Yeah. Because we all were little when he said, like, we could go start a pride of our own. And he gave that girl line a look. And I was just like, I know what that look means. I'm 7, but I know what that look means. But so fun. But let's get into it. Oh, I guess we are not doing crunch time this time because we're talking about anime.
And we literally... I'm just going to tell you to go watch Beastars because of how many times I watched it already and really enjoy it.
Yes. I mean, again, I think this is something that, one, the content alone, not that just because there's attractive animals in it, attractively drawn animals.
That's a big piece, but yes.
But also... Oh, go ahead.
Okay, hold on. Let's do the brief what the series is.
Yes, you do that. Take it away.
Okay, so Beastars is an anime series produced by Orange Studio based on the manga of the same name, which is written and illustrated by Paru Itagaki. It was released on October 8th of 2019 in Japan, licensed by Netflix. In addition, the series has aired on Fuji TV and Ultra, and it just came over to the States as a Netflix original on March 13th, and a second season of the anime was announced in December, so we will be getting that in 2021. The official synopsis is, in a world populated by anthropomorphic animals, herbivores and carnivores coexist with each other. For the adolescents of Cherryton Academy, school life is filled with hope, romance, distrust, and uneasiness. The main character is Legoshi, the Grey Wolf, a member of the drama club. Despite his menacing appearance, he has a very gentle heart. Throughout most of his life, he has always been an object of fear and hatred by other animals, and he's been quite accustomed to that lifestyle. But soon, he finds himself becoming more involved with his fellow classmates who have their own share of insecurities, and finds his life in school changing slowly.
Nice.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like, to your point, Nisha, of this has so much more than just hot anthropomorphic animals.
Yes.
It's the fact that it actually deals with, how do you say? Oh, I've been describing it like Zootopia, but it actually deals with like the problems and dark stuff that would happen from Zootopia.
Yes.
Because like when you watch Zootopia, what's happening is you see people forcing carnivores to become aggressive. Mm-hmm. But in here, it's the fact that all these animals still have their base instincts. So the herbivores are automatically terrified when they're with when they're with carnivores that they don't know, because their body is telling them, their feral instincts are telling them, I shouldn't be in the situation, I need to run. Whereas the carnivores, if they like smell an herbivore's blood or like anything like that, they're trying to fight back their instincts to hunt. At the same time, one of the things that I really liked about this was that it breaks down the process that Legoshi goes through by trying to make himself look weaker and to make himself look less intimidating. Like, he sits with his fingers curled into a ball, so you can't see his claws. It's not correct etiquette for a carnivore to show their fangs to an herbivore, even like when you're eating and stuff. Like, there's just a whole bunch of world building that happens that you really get to understand the society that these kids are living in.
Yep. And I think, like, to your point, it's like, I even said it when we were watching it. I'm like, Beastars does what Zootopia was too scared to do. No shade again. Zootopia is a Disney product, and it's meant for children, so they don't need to unpack all the, like, very, very deep shit that, like, they're trying to do, like, prejudice and racism. Like, they already kind of hit on the head on that, but, like, I think Beastars goes a deeper level of showing the impact on the world that, like you said, that these kids are growing up in. And, like, I think it's unique that we're seeing it from, like, the kids' point of view first when we're introduced to it. Because, like you said, like, he's grown up his whole entire life, like, not wanting to seem menacing. So, like, him hiding his claws, or, like, he even says, like, I filed down my claws, but they grew back already the next day. That he's very careful not to show his fangs. When he talks to herbivores, he gets down to their eye level, so he's not making them feel threatened. And, like, it kind of makes me think, like, again, like, when I watched Zootopia, and I remember, like, talking to somebody about it, and I was like, it's kind of like, are the people of color, like, you know, like, black and brown people, are we the carnivores because we feel like we need to hide our instincts and change our ways around people to make them not feel threatened? Like, we have to code switch the way we interact with them.
Yeah.
But then, like, are we, like, but we're not the prey, but, like, we feel like prey because then we're threatened. Like, in Zootopia, like, that's a whole discussion. But it's like, I think Beastars does a really good job of discussing it too, because another thing is, like you said, like, they have their base instincts to want to eat meat, but they've been taught that eating meat is basically a sin and it's wrong or it's illegal. There's also the whole, what is it? They are given, like, soy meat.
Yeah, they're given they're like milk and eggs and soy and like different tofu, different type, essentially like a vegetarian diet that still gives them the protein that they need. Because I think specifically what they say in the anime is like, an herbivore never eats meat in public, or no, a carnivore never eats meat in public,
right?
Which is why they have the back alley market, or I think it's called the black market in the anime.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where they really kind of, like, as much as they can survive on that, their instinct wants to eat meat.
Right.
Like, actual meat. And the black market is essentially this, it's a market where essentially they buy animals. And it really confronts the taboo that, like, everybody brings up in Pokemon. If you're in the Pokemon world, that means you have to eat Pokemon. But we never see that happen.
Right.
In Beastars, you're very clearly eating other things that were just like you. Like, your herbivore friends are most definitely what you could see in the market. And it's really weird. But they have this conversation about it where, like, there are these, like, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids who are in a group, and they end up passing it, and they're talking about it, and they're just saying, like, we're gonna need this when we get older.
Yeah.
Because that's the reason carnivores and herbivores are so polite to each other on the street, and there aren't, like, they call them devourings, which are when a carnivore essentially loses control and eats an herbivore, is because there is a place for them to go and get some kind of meat. And, like, some of it is, like, actual black market stuff, like abductions and everything like that. And other places in there have like contracts with funeral homes, or like they're selling themselves.
Which
Literally pieces of themselves.
Can we talk about that real quick? Because the scene with the old blind goat, he has tags on his fingers, y'all, and he's selling them for like 70 yen. I mean, like, I don't know if I'm assuming, because I thought it was the yen sign on the thing, but like 70,000, like, not dollars, I'm assuming. Whatever. It's a lot. I don't know transactions, but it was just like, this is creepy. Like, he's literally selling his fingers, and you can see, like, he's already, one hand he's missing, like, maybe all but like two, and then he's just like, all I ask is that you do it in one bite. And then like the tiger Bill, he's just like, hey guys, let's just all go in together, make it more affordable, and we'll share it. I'm like, you gonna share one finger first off? But then Legoshi is just like having this super inner turmoil with himself, because he's so tempted by like the smell at first, but then he immediately he rejects it. He's like, how can you guys do this? How can you eat herbivores? Like, we're friends with herbivores. But then I think it's the ego who like makes the point, I'm like, we're gonna have to do this. Like you said, like, we're gonna have to do this eventually. I like how it kind of draws the line in the sand of like their adolescence and them as adults, because they very much understand, like, in the real world, like, we are like in a bubble at Cherryton when we're at school. Like, they live on campus and they eat on campus and everything, so they're very much in this bubble. But when they go outside of that bubble, they're seeing herbivores and carnivores interacting with one another, like, you know, civilly. But on the back, like in the dark side of things, you know, carnivores are most likely going to go eat meat. Like, it's just a fact of life that they all know is true.
And I think that it's one of those things too, because then I think it all circles back to kind of to what you were saying about like how you see some like code switching in these animals and stuff, is because like I think that reality that like all the herbivores know that their carnivore friends are going to go to the black market at some point. Like, I think that it leads and it forces them to be like, okay, this person is going to be afraid of me, so I have to actively keep my strength down. I have to actively go through, and because it's in the manga later on, but there are like some pills that really strong animals take so that they can weaken their bodies, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to even just like hold hands with an herbivore. And in the anime, there's that part, I forget who it was. Was it Bill who rips off that person's arm?
No, so it's the panther.
Oh, wait, that's in the manga.
It's fine. It's not that big of a spoiler. I'm honestly also, the manga's been out for a while, so me and you can discuss the manga another time, or we could discuss some of it here. But we do warn y'all, this is a spoiler-filled show.
Yes.
We will try our best not to spoil the manga.
The show was so good that both Nisha and I were like, fuck, we gotta read the manga. We need more.
You know it's good when, like, both Kate and I have decided we're gonna go read the manga now because we're not getting what we want for another year. So, like, it's that good, y'all.
And the anime series covers chapters 1 through 50, and then there's like 119 more after that, I think, ish. Yeah,
that's about right. Because I think 150, it's 150 something, and I think it's updated monthly? Or has it ended? Yeah, okay.
I think it's updated monthly.
Yeah.
I gotta love scans, because I think Viz is only on volume 5.
Yeah. Which, you know, y'all can find it somehow.
Yeah. You know how.
You know
We're not
how.
going to tell you how, but you're listening to this show. I trust your weeb skills.
Yes. If you are a weeb.
To go get into some scans.
Look, I just started telling people, like, I'm going to give out manga recommendations. I'm like, all I had to do was give titles. I know y'all know how to find things.
Oh, yeah.
So, y'all are good. But no,
I've got to give you links. You can find your own links.
Yeah, I'm not going to incriminate myself. But yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was like, but yeah, no, the manga is just like, I think like even I said, it's like, okay, I started at 50 after I finished the Netflix series. And I was kind of like, man, it's not really going where I thought it would go. And then it kind of like flips it on your head, and you're just like, oh, this real good. So
Yeah,
go read it.
Because like at first I was reading it. So as a genre, like where you could classify the anime is like equal parts fantasy, slice of life, shoujo. Like it's a high school anime,
Yep.
but it's also a thriller
And like noir, like mystery.
Yes,
It's so good.
like,
It's like everything.
It's so like it's just damn good. Like there's a piece of this for everybody, but that also means that it does have some of the tropes. Like I did not get out of the romance what I wanted out of the romance.
I know.
Because of those like shoujo underpinnings, which is like not saying, because like one of the cool things they do is because they are, I think it's because they're animals, they talk about sex a lot.
Yep.
Like all these animals are having loads and loads of sex. And like the show's real horny.
Yes. Like, ooh.
But
go. Oh, okay. So, y'all, I apologize. I'll put the time code in the notes, but I have to talk about it. The scene with the lion and the bunny.
Yes.
I just like, yo, this like, oh, that got me. And I'm talking about much later, not with Haru and like.
Yeah.
The Shishigumi. So y'all can look out for that. But that honestly wasn't much of a spoiler. But y'all can just decide to listen to me or not. But I just, Kate, we have to talk about that at some point.
You're talking about when they fight in front of Haru?
Yes.
That one?
Yes.
Oh.
Her friend.
Yeah.
And just like, here's my boyfriend. He's an Indian lion. I was like, okay, girl. You in danger.
That's the hard thing, because like you root for Legoshi and Haru, and that's why I kept reading, because I didn't get enough out of the romance, or like I didn't get what I wanted out of it. So I was like, okay, if I keep reading, maybe I'll get it. And then you just end up going into this like, oh,
trope.
The romance is really like secondary. This is like a large critique on how like people see themselves and identity, and how whether or not you can go against identity, because any other time that I see a predator, any other time I see an herbivore with a carnivore, I'm like, oh, exactly, you're in danger, girl.
Yes.
Get out of there.
Well, it's like, and like the whole, their discussion, and I think what I did like about the manga where it took it, like you said, the romance between Legoshi and Haru does feel secondary, even though like it's a big plot in the first season. But I do like the discussion of interspecial relationships. And that's like friendships and romance and just like, and business. So like like the manga does a really good job of dissecting that on so many different levels of like, there's a scene in some parts in the manga where like there's that lamb. Sorry, she's not a lamb. She's a sheep. She's very adamant about people knowing the difference, and I respect her. So Simbu. But it's like she works in a carnivore.
Doesn't she have that entire? Sorry,
no, you're fine.
Doesn't she have that entire like? I think it's like an entire page where she's talking about the difference between their wool.
Yeah, she does. She does, and it's like the whole thing is like she works in a carnivore dominated industry. And she's like one of few people in an industry, like in a role that most carnivores have. And then you see like how she's subjected to like microaggressions, like them touching her fur, touching her wool, like, oh, it's so soft. I'm like, oh my God, I feel seen. But also I'm just like, oh my God, I would totally kill everyone in that room, but you're a sheep and I get why you can't do that. Because everyone's immediately going to just like turn on you like, we didn't mean to threaten you. We're sorry, we're carnivores. But it's just... Oh, it's so good. But sorry, I just want to talk about the manga so much. It's so good, y'all.
No, I mean, I think that there's a lot, like, when you get into all of it, there are just so many things, and I think it... Part of me, when I watched it, or before I started it, I was just like, okay... I'm, like, not gonna like this. This is just furry fan service. And then I watched it, I was like, oh, wow, this is actually so much more. Like, the amount that they build out the the world and the relationships, and not just like how the world exists, but like the rules of it, how everybody kind of sees each other, how you interact, and the fact that there are so many layers and guidelines to the society.
Yeah.
It is really I haven't seen anything like it, and it makes it much more than just like, oh, we made this for the furries. It's like, no, we actually made this to explore like some fairly critical issues, because like you said, like the interspecial piece of it. And after you watch in the anime, it's kind of there, like it's kind of taboo for a carnivore to be with an herbivore.
Yeah.
And then when you read the manga, you find out that interspecial marriage was only allowed like 10 years before the time that the manga is happening. And then even then, you're still like, it's interspecial marriages can happen unless it's a poisonous with a non-poisonous animal,
Yeah.
a land animal with a sea animal, or if a carnivore has been has committed a devouring or has predation, if it's a predation offense.
Right.
And so like you learn that like this isn't your typical star-crossed lovers. It's actually like their very beings as an herbivore and a carnivore, like everything around them is keeping apart because of that. And then in the first season of the anime, you see how their own instincts are doing that as well.
Yeah, that's a really great point, because like I guess like how you are born into the world basically dictates the path that you're allowed to walk.
Yeah.
So it's like, I guess one of the characters we could talk about is Haru, who is Legoshi is in love with her. I won't call her a love interest, because like that eventually happens, but I feel we were calling her a love interest for like the beginning part of it. But she's a dwarf bunny, so her whole thing is like, people have always looked at me as being small and like something that needs to be protected, or I'm looked at as something as prey. And she's always had it instilled in her as like, you're just so small, you're the smallest one of us, that you might just get eaten. Like, and like and she's like, I've constantly felt like I could die at any moment, and because I'm so small and I'm so weak. And she's just like, I just want someone to look at me for me, look at me as a being, not look at me as prey, not look at me as something to protect, not look at me as just a herbivore. And it's kind of like, that's kind of her motivation to be like very embracing her sexual nature. And I think I like her perspective on things. And like, even though like she deals with like so much bullying and bullshit, because she's like, I don't care what people think about me when it comes to sex. And like, that's a big thing for her, is because like the boys basically around the school is like, yeah, I've slept with her too. Basically, she's like, she doesn't care about species. It's been, I think it was like an antelope, and then another bunny, and then like you see a montage,
and a red deer.
Yep, that deer. The fuck boy. But it's like she's just like, it's so ingrained in her that like I feel like I could die at any moment. So she's just like, sex is the one place where she feels like people like don't look at her as prey.
Yep.
And I think that's like, dang. But then it's like, when you look at the flip side of like Legoshi, it's just like so focused on not trying to look menacing and not trying to look like he can scare people. I mean, scare other animals. And he's just like so concerned about that. Because he knows like in his life, like he knows how he looks, and he's very concerned to like how big he is. And like, he's not really allowed, I don't think we see him be himself outside of when he's with his friends, like the canines, which I think is so cute. Like when he's with his friend Jack, who's a Labrador, and I'm just like, this is so nice that his friend is so in tune to his depression, because no one else is. But it's like, Legoshi even knows, even when he's around other canines, he can be seen as threatening. And he's just not like, I enjoyed like watching him like become more comfortable in himself. Like, as I read more in the manga, I feel like in the anime it takes a little while still to get there, but
because that's like, there's a lot of growth that happens, and when we just keep it to like when we just keep it to the anime, there, like, Legoshi, when we first see him, like, he is definitely the, like, look, people are intimidated by Legoshi, not because they see him as intimidating, but because all of the things that he is doing is making him look like a creep.
Yes.
Like, he doesn't want to talk to people directly. He talks to people when everybody else is gone. He just kind of stands quietly, like, hunched over, staring at people.
He sniffs you. He sniffs you.
And it's just, it's one of those things that when you look at Legoshi, you realize that a lot of the fear that people have towards him is actually happening because of all of the things that he's doing to keep him from looking worse.
Right. Because go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, because like even in the first episode, I think so. We open up and it's very much just like the premise is that, like, before you meet any of the main characters, that there has been a devouring. So there's been a murder of one of the students on campus. Yeah. And he was in the drama club. Legoshi's in the drama club. There's already rumors of just, like, it was probably a big carnivore that did it. And, like, everyone's just, like, staring. And it's, like, there's distrust immediately. Like, people are divided in the room. And they're already just, like, looking at the carnivores as if one of them did it. And it's just, like, sad because it's just, like, hey, don't automatically assume it's one of us. Like, we get it. It's scary. One of our he was our friend too. Like, they're upset about his death too. But then you have, like, but like, you're right. The way Legoshi acts throughout the whole episode, kind of just like, dude, did you do it or not? Like, because even when you first approach it, you're kind of like, did Legoshi do it? But it's because there was a girl sheep or alpaca, and she basically was nervous about walking back after club, and because she just feels like Legoshi's staring at her. But, like, the whole time, it's not that he wants to eat you. It's that he was trying to give you a message from the alpaca that died.
Exactly. And it's also one of those things, too, is, like, I think there's sometimes happen where, like, we dole ourselves down so much for other people that we end up just, like, missing the point entirely. And I think that that's what happens with him.
Yes.
Like, 100%. And you see him grow after meeting Haru and after kind of finding a power in his identity almost through his interactions with Haru and then Louis, who's the red deer, where he becomes something more. Like, he grows up almost in that season, because he learns what he has to do, how he can use his natural predator skills in a positive way.
Yes.
And then you have Haru, who I really like, because so one of the things, and I said this when I wrote my review, is that I went into this thinking it was going to be furry fan service. So when they immediately introduce a character who's promiscuous, I'm like, oh, that's all it is. But then when they give the background that you talked about, where it's like, yeah, no, she just wants people to see her as equal. Like, Haru has been grown. Like, she doesn't have to, like, she's not a character who has to find herself or do any of that. She does become a little bit of a damsel, but her growth happens, like, maybe in the last 3 episodes, where she has to come to terms with, so everything Haru does is so that people can see her as an equal, but because it only ever happens in sex, she ties it to sex.
Yeah.
And so when her growth is learning that somebody can see her as an equal, even if that doesn't happen, and trusting that person and doing that, and that person is Legoshi.
Yes.
And that is one of the things that I think is really compelling about her character, and I do think it's one of the reasons that you can tell that this manga is written by a woman, is just because of how that's done.
Agreed.
Like, she doesn't have to grow into something else. So yeah.
I like that. I agree with that a lot, because, like, even when there's characters, I think it's Legoshi's like, I just want you to value yourself, and she's just like, she just responds back to him. I'm just like, don't think I don't value myself. Like, that's not why I do any of this. I know my value. because like I even cringed when he said that. I'm like, no, shut up, that's the worst thing you can say. But like I like how the creator handles all of that, because the fact of the matter is Legoshi is younger than her. He's a year younger than her, and she's a senior. And I think like he's like inexperienced. So he's a virgin. He hasn't eaten meat. I said that's a thing why he is inexperienced. So he also doesn't probably understand her perspective as much in this area. So I think it's normal for him to say something like that to her when he doesn't necessarily understand what her life is like for her, how her whole life has shaped her into being this way. And it's not about her not valuing herself. It's truly like, this is what I do, and this is who I am. Like, I respect myself plenty.
Yeah, and I think that that's also just like a really good view of sex, almost, in that, like, and I think, and I don't want to say good view, but just like, it's a lens that we don't really see sex through. I think we talk a lot about sex as power, but a lot of the time we see it as men directed towards women. But throughout the entire anime, which is, the first 50 chapters, you have Haru, who holds all the power over the men that she is having sex with, and it is I don't know. It's just a good representation, in my opinion, because it's more than just sex. It shows you how people view sex. And she has the power over the entire thing. So I don't know. I really like the way that the sex in this series is handled. Even between her and Louis. Yeah. Which, Louis a fuckboy, but like, I like Louis a lot more now, having read the manga.
The manga helps. The manga helps shape out Louis' personality a lot better, because at first we're just like, so is this just boy love? Also, because like the way, and it's mainly because like a lot of the positions he like puts Legoshi in, and like he provokes him. Like he doesn't. I can't say it's even provoking him. It's just like more like Louis feels very aggressive towards carnivores. He speaks down to them because he does not want them to do the same to him first. Like, I get that, especially once you get more of his backstory.
Really cool which is also another really cool piece of like character exploration, in that like Louis is literally just trying to be the strongest prey. Yeah. Because he comes from a background where he was the prey and had to live through that. Yeah. Which is like freaking cool. Like, Louis isn't just a dick because he's a dick. Louis is a dick because he's terrified of being without power again.
Yes. And that makes complete sense of why he behaves the way he does. And like why I can forgive him for his behavior towards Legoshi. Once more of that is revealed, because like,
that being said, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm like, but that doesn't mean he's absolved of like how he treats all carnivores. But I can't understand. Exactly. I can't totally understand
Louis
how he does it.
Speciesist.
Louis
is 100% speciesist.
Yes, he is.
But then you're totally right that there is like a little bit of boy love and I think it comes through in both the manga and the anime. But in the anime, the first time that you really see Legoshi interacting with another character physically is with Louis, because Louis is like holding his face or pushing him or pulling him down, and I'm just like, there's a lot of tension here.
There's a lot of tension. Like, he grabs his jaw and like his fingers are like grazing his mouth, and like the whole time, again, Legoshi is the king of restraint. And he's just like, I can't show you my claws. I can't show you my fangs. It would be rude. It's not proper etiquette. And I'm like, he can't even, he feels like he can't stick up for himself. Like, he doesn't allow himself to even do that, because he knows he could tear Louis apart. Yep. But the whole time, he's just like taking it in stride in order to not seem menacing or threatening. Yeah. But yeah, Louis does come around. I will say that eventually, but I still hated him with Haru so much, but like I like that at least like as me and you know, I feel like they recognize like we were truly just using ourselves, using each
Yeah.
other in this relationship, like which wasn't a relationship. Even though I just feel like Haru very much put her cards on the table and was like, all I need is your love, and he's just like, can't give that to you because you're a rabbit and I'm a deer, and I already got a fiance. Just like, okay, bro.
Yep.
But also, like, I won't give the biggest spoiler away, but like the festival, the situation with that,
Yeah.
I was kind of just done with Louis after that. Anyways, I was like, fuck you.
I was real done with Louis after that.
Mhm.
Real done.
Like I did not care what happened to him after that.
Yeah.
But we'll let y'all get to that point, and then y'all can make your decisions. Like, we know things changed since then, but whew,
Yeah.
Louis is a mess. He's a mess.
But I think, like, when we talk about the anime, I think the reason that people are really gonna like this anime, and the reason I think that it is kind of taking everything, I don't want to say, it's kind of taking everything by storm a little bit, like, when you look at how people are watching it and coming to it, is because of how deep it goes and how, like, it is a fantasy, but it's also taking time to build out each character. I don't think that there's a single character that isn't dynamic almost, and I think beyond that, I think it's a near perfect series. I think my only critique of it is that fucking egg episode.
Yeah. I don't know.
And that continues in the manga. There are like these
It does.
random episodes of somebody in the background before it shifts back to being before it shifts back to being focused on like a main character.
I will say it's done better after the egg episode, because I do at least like.
That's fair.
I like the club, you know what I mean, like the club one where Legoshi's at a club, and like we don't get introduced
manga,
to him. Yeah. So that one, I'm like, that one was pretty well done. Like as far as like introducing it back to the main plot, but the egg one, I was just like, I did not need to know this.
Yeah, like. And for context, it's like midway through the season, and it starts with Legoshi eating an egg salad sandwich, and then it like cut, and then you have this narration of a chicken talking about how he's eating her eggs, and I'm just like, what?
Yep.
And it just goes through her process of trying to make eggs and being healthy, and how her eggs are the best, and then. Which, like, it is interesting because it's kind of pointing out the fact that, like, eggs and milk are literally jobs for people.
Yep.
And they're still utilized. But it was just weird.
It was real weird because she's just, like, totally enamored with the fact, not with him, but, like, enamored with the fact that he praises her eggs. And he doesn't know that it's her eggs. And, because, like, the chickens sell them to the school. So me and Lizzie were talking about, like, we couldn't find an equivalent besides placentas, where, like, you know, rich goop-esque people will take placentas and put them into peel form. And I was just like, even then, this is just, like, so bizarre. He's eating your I guess, would have been children, but they're not, because they're eggs. So it's interesting how they very much, like, put a line in between the sand there, too, because I think that's probably something we as humans would do, like, I'll be very blunt. Like, if I were to sell my eggs as a woman, yes, I can make $10,000. Like, that's something we as humans can do. But I'm like, I have no idea what the school's paying her for eggs. But it's still just like, what is this scene? And it took up half the episode. So I was just like weirded out. But I mean, I guess this is like a credit to like what you said about the world building. These scenes contribute to, like, showing us more of how the world works in this series. So, but still weird. Very, very weird. I don't know.
Yeah. What was your favorite part of the series?
I think my favorite part was Legoshi standing up to Bill. So, like, during the school play, Bill's the tiger, and it basically gets revealed that, like, Legoshi's smelling blood, and his only first, I guess his first whiff of blood was when he had accidentally attacked Haru. So I think that he associates that blood. I don't think we ever got confirmation if it was her blood or if it was just like somebody's blood who they sold on school. So blood is basically like a drug for carnivores, and Bill's been, doping up on it as a way to, like, I guess keep his nerves in check, or like performance enhancement. Performance enhancement is probably the better way of describing how blood is used. And Legoshi smells
doping.
it. Yeah, doping. So he does it, and Legoshi's like confronting him about it, and it shows two sides. So Legoshi letting loose his strength on somebody and being able to do that against somebody who is as big as him and as strong as him for the first time. So you kind of see, like, it was a part where, like, he's punching the shit out of him. Like, is he gonna die or is he done?
I thought he was gonna kill Bill.
Yeah, because it was gruesome. Kill Bill.
It was really, really intense.
It was super intense. So there's that part of it. But then it's also, like, Bill and Legoshi are two sides of a coin, where, like, Bill has already embraced the fact that, like, I'm a carnivore. This will be my life one day. And so what's wrong with me starting to use blood or eat meat now? Because they're like 17. And Legoshi's like, it's wrong. But it's like, they have their own different philosophies on the matter. Even though they're both carnivores. And I think it's good. Like, the scene on the stage that's taking place, it's a lot of talking. And, like, I don't know, like, it felt like a little philosophical. Like, you can because they're trying to put on the show for the people, but really they're having a discussion about how all this stuff is affecting them differently, and then how Bill claws the shit out of Legoshi's back and everything. But I think that was a very intense scene, but it also shows, like, a philosophical side to, like, them being carnivores. So I like that.
Yeah.
What about you?
I like that a lot.
Thanks.
I think for me, I actually think episode 11 is my favorite, just because, so episode 11, you have Legoshi and Haru ending up in a love motel. Mm-hmm. And
cliche.
Very cliche.
Love it.
And I love romance anime.
Mm-hmm.
I love adult romance anime. But I was expecting them to have their first time or whatever. Mm-hmm. But instead, so you have, like, a fairly sensual, like, moment where they're kind of, like, they're not making out, but he's, like, feeling her up. And it's about to happen, and then her body reacts, where she's like, oh crap, I'm actually prey. Mm-hmm. And it showed, at least for me, what I liked about it is it kind of showcased the complexity of their problem, is that, like, before, she was in love with Louis, and so she kind of couldn't be with him. And there were factors that you could attribute to just, like, society not wanting them to be together because it's a carnivore and herbivore, or size, or the fat, or a love triangle. But in that moment, it's like, no, they're very physical beings. Is what is keeping them apart, and what can keep them apart. And it was one of those moments where I was like, damn it, no! Legoshi, I just want you to be happy.
I just want you to kiss. Now kiss.
Now kiss. That's me throughout this whole damn thing. Now kiss.
Pretty much.
But yeah, and I really like that episode because it just showcases that even when all the stars have aligned and they can do what they want to do in that moment, they still can't.
They can't.
Like, this isn't as simple as, I love you, let's do it. It's harder than that.
Right.
Which is also interesting because the first time that Legoshi meets Haru outside of the predation piece in the first episode, she, like, undresses in front of him and, like, opens his shirt, and, like, that's fine. But, like, you can't just deal with, like, an actual, like, consensual thing. I don't know. It's complicated. Yeah. But it's interesting.
It was very interesting. It's because, like you said, like, in the first time they meet, she's just like, well, I've never done with a carnivore. So sure, let's do it. So like, I don't know if it's just like she was so focused on that. Like, I would love to like revisit that. I'm like, so what was going through your mind at that point? Because you didn't seem to bother you. But like,
exactly.
if that was your first time, or is it because also you have that emotional connection with him now, or is it because she had just gone through something very traumatic that her body reacted that way?
Yeah, it definitely could have been trauma. I think it also could have been the fact that because he was laying on top of her and his mouth was there, it could just be that was different because it's almost like the power switches.
Yeah.
Because when they first meet each other, he's against the wall. He's not talking. He's not active in it at all because he's like, that's not Legoshi.
Yeah, he's shocked.
Legoshi's not like, yeah, let's do it. He's like, oh my god, what's this little bunny doing? And so she has all the power in that situation. But in the hotel room, it's not that he has power over her. It's more like they're both equal partners in it. And I think when she loses that power, she doesn't like, I think it's like a combination of her body reacting, but also her subconsciously being like, oh yeah, we're definitely on the same plane with each other. This is a different type of sex that I haven't had.
Right. I agree.
So
it's just like a lot, but it's
Beastars has layers, y'all.
There's layers. It's more than just attractively drawn and anthropomorphic animals. We swear, but also like just so much to discuss. As far like I just enjoy the world building a lot.
Yep.
Because like when we understand more about how the society that they live in. God, sorry, I'm not sick. I'm just gotta take a sip now. But anyways, when we learn more about the world that they live in and how it works, I think it opens up more discussion about how that is applied to our world and how we live in and how certain situations can be discussed. Especially like the reason I like Zootopia so much is because it kind of does that on a child's level of like recognizing that, have you ever been, seen as the bad child automatically by others because of the way you look, and that you'll only ever be bad because you come from this family or you look this way, which carries over into this where yes, they're a carnivore. There's a mayor. The mayor is a lion, and he like his part was like, I had my fangs removed in order to like make people feel safer around me. And it's just like, you drastically change something about your natural self in order for people to feel safer around you. And it's just like, that's a lot of stuff that I think people could probably relate to, and like how they, I don't know, maybe personally they've seen that, or maybe like they've done that to themselves of like, how do you alter yourself around others to make them feel safer? I know for me, sometimes I make sure I check how loud I'm talking, like how loud my tone is
all the time.
I hate it so much because sometimes I'm just excited about something, but it can easily be seen as me being angry. And it's just like, I think only with you I could probably talk in like a tone that sounds excited, and I know I'm not angry, and that's very helpful. I feel like,
it's hard because like I deal with the same thing too. It's like, and I especially get it when like I'm doing interviews or I'm trying to talk to somebody at like a convention, because like my natural state is just loud, and a lot of people take it as aggressive, and it's like, I'm not trying to be aggressive. I'm just talking. Like, that's just my volume.
And when people tell you to calm down,
I'm not yelling at you. Ugh. Yes. It's like, I am calm. I'm just talking.
Right. I'm like,
and now that you told me to be calm, now I'm getting angry.
It is just like it's like, I swear to God, I'm damned if I do and damned if I don't. When it comes to that, or like, why do you look upset? I'm like, I'm not angry. This is just my fucking face. Now I'm angry because you said something about my face. So fuck you. But you know what? Another question. If you were an animal in Beastars, what would you be? You don't have to pick a character. You could just pick an animal that you would be.
And pick an animal? Oh, that's...
I'm a fox. I'm gonna call it. I'm a fox.
A fox? You're a fox?
Yeah, I'm a fox. Because I'm small and scrappy, and I can chomp on someone's neck. I'll give you two animals if that helps.
Okay, that helps. Okay. Yeah. Guide me, because there's just so many animals.
Okay, so we know that there's like land and there's sea animals. So like there's carnivores and herbivores. There's also omnivores when you think about it. So there's like raccoons. There's tanukis.
Yeah.
Specifically, like, ones that are regional. There's lions, bears, koalas.
I think I'd be a panther.
You said you'd be a panther?
Yeah.
I could totally see you as a panther.
Or a jaguar. Yeah.
Yes. Ooh.
I think I'd be a jaguar.
Yes. There's even a jaguar class. But there's a female cheetah. That's what I was thinking of. But there's a male jaguar in the drama club.
Oh, yeah. That female cheetah is so pretty.
Mm-hmm. I'm shipping her and Bill. I don't think that's ever going to happen. Yeah. But I just think, ooh, y'all can make pretty babies. Which we find out is a thing in the manga. I'm sorry, that's a semi-spoiler, but...
Yeah, it's not species dependent on whether or not you can have babies, which is such an interesting play. Or not an interesting play, but like it's such an interesting concept for this world, but also makes it really cool. It like complicates it, because then you end up with questions about hybrids and how hybrids look, and it makes the world and the lore of it deeper.
So good. So good. And it's like, because it's even kind of comes into play where like the one bunny, the Harley Quinn bunny that's bullying Haru in the beginning, she's like, it's gonna be your fault that we go extinct. I'm like, it's your boyfriend's fault for cheating. So
yeah, but the one interesting thing that points out is that there is a extinction in this.
Yep.
Like, and that is another level that ends up playing into romantic pairings. Like, yeah. It's really interesting. I really need season 2 to happen. I'm wondering what season 2 will cover. I think it'll probably just cover up to the Thames killer resolution arc.
I think it will. I think that might be the finale, because like the way the season finale was, it the after credits scene? I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, after the credits run, where it picks up at I think it's like the opening of chapter 50.
And like Legoshi, like you, the audience, are aware, like you're given clues that like the person whose face you haven't seen, or the animal's face you haven't seen, and they're growling, they're the murderer. And then Legoshi sees them, is like, come on, everyone's waiting for you. And you know that murderer interacts with Legoshi on a regular basis. And man, it is gonna be so good when that gets animated. That arc is so
their
deep.
Fight, I can't wait for like their 4 different fights.
Yes, cause man, and then like this character is just like, we can talk about the character and not reveal them to y'all. We'll do that favor to y'all, but it's just like so like how their perspective on things gets warped is like very concerning, and I feel sad for them in a way when like we learn about them and learn more about them. But it's like, damn, like, is this a situation where this animal was damned if they do and damned if they didn't? Like, I don't know, but like I think it's also part of that feeling is because like a lot of like their story we're being told from their perspective first. But then when we see it from Legoshi's point of view, you're like, damn, this person is menacing. Like evil. Like, just certifiably evil. But, like, again, 2 sides of the same coin. That
entire arc with him points back to stuff that the hot panda said.
Yeah.
The hot panda teacher said.
Dr. Going.
Yeah, it just shows how easily stuff gets warped.
Yeah.
And I like that they, like, and then the arc after that, you have another character that is a foil to Legoshi, that is another 2 sides of the same coin situation. And I really like, because for the majority of the first season, like, Louis and Legoshi are kind of the opposites that are at play, and then as it like every arc after that, I feel like they do a really good job of showing the complexities of something that Legoshi is dealing with by showing you the other side. So
I agree. It's just,
I can't wait for this to get animated.
Same. It's gonna be so good, and like we hope you guys, after listening to this, feel inspired to go and watch it. I honestly cannot recommend it enough because, again, like I feel like I had the same feelings as you when it first got announced. Of like, this just looks like something that, like, 3 steps further than Zootopia took, and would be very furry fan servicey, but it also does like have a very deep story. And I think that that's something, in addition to like, hey, this is just like another way to tell like deep societal issues through, hotly drawn characters. Like anime does, because it's anime.
It does what anime does well.
Yes. Oh, I guess we should also mention like the animation style, like how it's drawn.
Oh, yeah. It's 3D. Mm-hmm. Like, this is probably the only 3D anime that I've ever just, like, fallen in love with.
Right. I think it's better than, like, Saint Seiya. I think it's, like, the bottom of the barrel when it comes to 3D.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the Saint Seiya on Netflix.
Definitely bottom of the barrel. Yeah.
It's so hard to watch. And it's because they move so weird. But, like, recently I watched Dragon Quest. So I think that's something we should review next, if that's like down the line. And I know like
I'm good with that.
It's done good and it's smooth. Like, remember that Lupin the Third CGI movie that I still want to see, but no announcements yet. It's as smooth as that, I would say.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I think
for me. Oh, go ahead.
And I think I'm coming around to CGI anime, but it's just like, or 3D CGI anime, whatever this is called. It's just really a matter of like how well it's done.
Yeah. I think for me, because like so the reason I haven't liked a lot of 3D anime is, and especially I haven't liked it's how it plays with some of like the 2D stuff in the background and things. And for me, I think about, Saint Seiya is definitely bottom of the barrel, but I think like Ultraman.
Yeah.
So like Ultraman is 3D anime, but it has some 2D elements, but the animation isn't fluid. Like, it kind of feels choppy.
Yes.
Or even a little bit of the Dragon Prince is a little 3D. And because the first season has some issues when it comes to that. Mm-hmm. But then I think Beastars, it actually took me some time to realize, because I knew it was different, but it took me some time to actually realize that this was 3D animation styles. Mm-hmm. Because it was so well done.
Yes.
And it was just very seamless and smooth.
Yes, because there's scenes where, like, you're watching it, like, even when I see GIFs of it, I'm like, is that 3D or is it just 2D really really well? But I'm like, I like that it shifts in between it without it being jarring enough to break your focus on what's being done in the scene. Like, it just, and I like how they play with the shadows. Like, they do a really good job of, like, using shadows and light.
They do a really good job with it.
It's so good. But...
Well, I guess final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Go watch it. Can't talk about it enough. I'm going to go binge the rest of the manga. And I give this a solid... I'm going to give it a solid 9.
Yeah, I am also going to say go watch the damn series. It's a Netflix original. Mm-hmm. All of y'all have Netflix.
Yes. If you don't...
Or you know someone who does.
Right. You got somebody's password.
Exactly. And I just think it's so much more. Like, I do think that a lot of people, and I understand my thirst tweets aren't helping, but I do think a lot of people are gonna, like, write it off at first. Like, oh, this is just furry stuff. But it's just such a good anime overall. It's a really good anime that blends genre. It's really good anime that has depth and emotion. Mm-hmm. So I really want people to watch it. I'm definitely going to give it a 9 out of 10 as well, just because of the egg episode.
Yeah.
But as an ongoing series in the manga, that's just a 10 out of 10. Like, I haven't watched something that has made me immediately go into the manga in a very long time. Mm-hmm. Like, and that didn't even happen to me with My Hero. Like, and I love My Hero. I eat, sleep, breathe, drink My Hero.
You do. And I've been trying to get you to read it because I need to talk.
I know.
I can't keep waiting a year to talk about shit with you because it has to get animated. Hey,
I got a lot of self-quarantine time, so.
Look, I already said, like, since we're all in self-quarantine, maybe now I'll finish One Piece. I'm not gonna read it. I don't have time to read. Even though I binged, 150 chapters in 3 days. So,
Yeah.
but still, no.
Which I do want to say it's not manga, but it is anime. Nisha and I will be hosting anime days on Saturdays, or on Sundays. Like I said, we did doing Beastars for our first one, and then on Sunday, March 29th, we'll be doing Cells at Work. And then finally, the long-awaited time will be coming. On Sunday, April 5th, I will be watching The Promised Neverland with everybody.
It's about goddamn time. I have waited 2 years, Catherine. Okay, it's not 2 years, but I've waited too long. It'll be 2 years in October, because that's when it came out. Or I get, was it last October when it came? Last October when it came out. So then, yeah, second season should come back this October. And I've just been like, I understand it is a sub. I understand subs is not everybody's jam, because I also like to watch things as I work. However, it's only 10 episodes. And I have been getting on her case constantly.
I know.
But finally, me and Becca can put our reminders to rest once we watch it. I'm so excited. I mean, maybe we could find the dub. I think we could find the dub by now.
I can't find the dub.
Really?
Because the fact that, Funimation doesn't have the dub.
Oh, well, I don't think it's Fun. It's Crunchyroll. But I don't know if Funimation has the license.
Crunchy?
Yeah, it's on Crunchyroll.
I thought Funimation had the dub, because I know that it's in... Or no, I thought it was Funimation. Okay.
No, so it's not Funimation, because I know they don't have the license on... trust me, I've been looking on Funimation regularly to see, okay, it's there now. But no, it's not. But I do know Adult Swim had the dub. I just don't think the dub was done... Has the English... I don't know why the English dub hasn't been added to Crunchyroll. It could by now. But yeah, Adult Swim...
I just checked.
Dang it! See, this is what's always so weird. Adult Swim showed the dub of the dub episodes.
Yeah.
So I don't even when I found out it was on Adult Swim, I immediately messaged you. But then I'm like, shoot. The problem with that is Adult Swim only puts up the episode, I think, for 1 week, and then they don't put the whole season. They don't put the whole season up at all.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, they do that sometimes, or you have to log in with your internet provider, and maybe you can unlock it, but I think because it's anime, sometimes they don't do that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it's fine.
Oh, well.
Yeah. But we will watch it, and if I can find the dub somewhere, other places, we will watch it. We will find out.
I am excited.
I'm very excited because I've been wanting to talk about Sister Crone and all of them for forever. I know Eunice, if you're listening from Black Girls Anime, we told her she could come back so we can dissect all that shit.
Yep.
But I'm very excited to talk about it.
I'm excited. But we have a lot of stuff coming. Remember, just because we're social distancing doesn't mean you gotta be alone. Hit us up in the Discord. There's an anime channel there. Currently, it's just me finding adorable fan art of Beast Wars and then sending it and tagging Nisha. If y'all don't follow us already, you should at DYHT_pod. And you should also join our network's Discord community. Because just because we're social distancing doesn't mean you gotta be alone. And we're gonna be holding anime days, like I said, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So come talk to us. There's an anime channel, which is currently just me finding really cute fan art of Beastars and sending it and tagging Nisha.
Yes.
So
we're including y'all in our weeb behavior that we usually would just do in our DMs when we
exactly.
But now I should use Discord more and share that with y'all. So, but yeah, I agree. We like to engage with people in Discord pretty often, I would say. And I think since when there was the Castlevania watch party that we did, and that was super fun. And I think it's nice to do these things every now and then, just because it's a nice way to meet other people and connect. But
yes,
social distancing is important, and self-quarantine is important in this time, and that doesn't mean you're I think it can be draining for some people who are used to being interactive with others pretty often. So I think this is a healthy way to do that by also, engaging with others, so you don't have to feel so alone.
Yeah.
So we welcome you with open arms, with open weeb arms.
Open weeb arms.
Yes, from a distance.
Exactly. Oh yeah, from a distance.
Yes. But yeah, I'm looking forward to all of the anime nights coming up. So should be a good time, and we can all stop yelling at Kate about watching The Promised Neverland soon.
Yes.
Because that's been fun.
Yep.
I don't know what to yell about you next, but I'll find something. No, the next thing's going to be yelling at you to read the My Hero manga.
Oh, it is. It really is.
It will be, but it's fine.
I just bought the Vampire Night Memories volumes that I'm currently going to be reading. Because I need to. They stopped that anime so long ago, and I'm vampire trash, and I need it, Nisha.
You are vampire trash, but do you love your son Bakugo or not?
Oh, don't put that on.
Don't you want to know how he's doing? Don't you want to know how he's progressing and growing?
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. Just be a better mom.
Just go read.
Be a better mom and go be invested in your son's life in the manga.
You know what? I will say this. I may just read the manga because every time I tweet about it, somebody's like, and in the manga, I'm like, shut up.
I am not one of those. I at least try my best to just, like, if I see something in the manga, I try to find something that is not a huge plot. And not something that's super spoilery. Like, I can talk about a new character being introduced in the manga, and I do it as, like, as long as it's not, like, a huge, oh my god, this character died, like, thing. Yeah. Because I feel like it's kind of rude and disrespectful to people. Like, and I get this, fellow manga readers, I feel you. Trust me, I do. I know we're excited and we want to talk about shit with other people, but they might not read the manga. But I also don't want to be a dick to people when they obviously, like, just check with people before you mention things in the manga sometimes. That's all I think is, it's a nice thing to do, just because some people, yes, I know the manga's been out for, like, years, like, for, like, even older series, but I don't know. I just don't like that mentality. It's been out for 10 years. You should have already read it. I'm like, not everybody has the resources to read them.
Yeah, I also think that my thing is, if you tweet out pictures from the anime, I'm going to only assume that you've only seen the anime. But if you, unless I'm tweeting out stuff from the manga, then that's kind of how I use it. Yeah. That's kind of my tell, because there's a lot of manga I don't read, and so I just kind of assume people are like me. So that's my easy thing, is like, if I tweet about Bakugo's arc in Heroes Rising, I don't need you to come into my thread and talk about Bakugo's arc in the manga, because it's literally not the point of conversation. Right. So that's usually how I judge it.
Yeah, no, I think that, and I just think that's being respectful. It's like, ooh, look at this new character I really like. Oh, guess what? They're gonna die soon. I'm like, just keep it to yourselves. Just keep it to yourselves. Don't be those kind of manga readers. But anyways, sorry, I know we went down a rabbit hole. We already said our closing thoughts. We already told them Discord. Oh yeah, where can they find us? Is that where we're at?
Oh yeah, so you can find me at Obama Thrandir. Again, find us on Twitter at DYHT_pod.
And you can also find me on Twitter at LA_NEY_SHA. Come talk about us about weeb shit. We've literally got nothing else to do except work from home.
Exactly.
Yep. And with that, will you become furries after watching Beastars? Will you understand what's the difference between a furry and an anime furry? And what kind of animal are you if you were in the Beastars world? Find out next time on Did You Have To? Bye. Did You Have To is co-produced by Kate Sanchez and Lanisha Campbell. Our intro is done by Dr. Emery Stephen Daniel. And our outro and intro music is by Benjamin Tissot, aka Ben Sound.